Hey sports fans, I'm in front of the Delta Center in Salt Lake City, Utah. This is my second visit here in barely over a year. I was just here in December 2024 to check out what was then known as the Utah Hockey Club. They've since changed names, of course, to the Utah Mammoth, and I'm here to check out another game, as well as to see the Utah Jazz. They're also here over a weekend. So 2 nights, 2 games, one each involving the Jazz and the Mammoth. So let's go. My previous visit to Salt Lake City was simply about experiencing the novelty of watching hockey in the NHL's newest market. But this time it's more about seeing how the Delta Center has been transformed. An ongoing multi-year renovation is not only making the arena more accommodating for hockey, but also promising to provide a more modern entertainment destination in downtown Salt Lake City, as well as prepare it for the 2034 Winter Olympics. Of course, there's a reason why I came back here so soon. This arena is going through a major renovation, and a pretty unique one in this arena that was designed for basketball. To fit a larger hockey rink, they had to do some innovative things with the seating bowl in order to reduce the number of obstructed view seats for hockey games. So I'm here to check that out, and some of you said that you wanted me to make another video about it. So I'm really excited to be here again in Salt Lake City, as we'll see what's in store for me these next couple of games. If you're new to this channel, my name is Ed, and I chronicle all my sports travels on my website, Itinerant Fan. It has guides to all the stadiums in the major American sports leagues, plus some college stadiums and even major venues around the world. Check it out sometime if you're into traveling for sports. For more than 30 years, the Center of Sports and Entertainment in Salt Lake City, Utah, has been its downtown arena, the Delta Center. The arrival of the NHL was just the latest exciting thing to happen in the history of this arena, but from the beginning it has served as the home of the NBA's Jazz, so I was thrilled to have a chance to see a basketball game here during my trip. Of course, I was excited to compare what I had seen in last year's trip to Utah to now in terms of the hockey atmosphere and experience. If you want to watch the previous video I made about coming to the Delta Center, I'll link it in the description below. But that would have to wait because the Jazz game came first on this visit. I also made it a point to stay right across the street from the arena at this Courtyard Marriott. And even better, they gave me a room with a view that looked right out at the arena. How very convenient. Anyway, nightfall came soon enough and I stepped out into the cold winter evening for the brisk walk across the street and into the Delta Center. I purchased a decent seat for this game, up high but close to center court. I had been to one Jazz game previously, back in 2017, and that was well before any notion that the arena would have to be renovated to accommodate hockey full-time. So when I wasn't watching this game, I was looking around to see where the seating bowl had been altered. The changes are most obvious at the end portions of the lower bowl, where if you look closely you can see that the slope changes. That's part of an innovative solution installed prior to this season so that more lower bowl end seating would be available with the larger footprint of a hockey rink as opposed to a basketball court. It's important to note that more renovations are coming over the next couple years, and I'm only seeing part of how this arena will be transformed. More on that later. But even this early glimpse was fascinating to me. Anyway, it just so happened that it was Mammoth night at the Jazz game, but sadly for the home fans on this night, that might have been the most interesting part of the evening. The Jazz very quickly fell behind their opponents, the Charlotte Hornets, and by halftime they were behind by quite a lot. Yikes. At halftime I got a chance to walk around the concourses and consider my food options. Most of it looked familiar to me from my visit last year, and I had my eye on some of the Utah-specific stands here. I think Delta Center Concessions does a good job representing the local favorites. But I couldn't help but notice how popular the Iceberg Drive-In stand was, and I figured I'd do something for my sweet tooth. At Delta Center you can order from your phone at every stand, which is nice, and reduces the amount of time you spend standing in line. Before long I had my cookie dough shake, kid size, because no lie, what they call regular here is twice as large. And it was more like a sundae than a shake, but quite tasty. Shake in hand I headed up to the uppermost reaches of the seating bowl to the forward fan zone, a rather large standing room area where you can get pretty nice views of the game. I knew I'd spend a lot of time here tomorrow night too. For basketball I can probably see why a lot of folks would not like this faraway view of the court, but it didn't bother me much at all. I also noticed all the stuff for the Mammoth hanging in the rafters and on the walls. But I also realized that the Jazz's retired numbers and banners have been relegated to a spot along the wall, when in my 2017 visit I remember that they hung from the rafters. I almost didn't notice them here, which is a bit unfortunate in my opinion. It was from up here that I watched the remaining few minutes of the Hornets' thorough rout of the Jazz. Yeah, that's an ugly final score.
Fun night despite the lack of competitiveness in that one. But it was just as fun like seeing the different architectural features of the seating bowl and like how, so it was a nice little preview of what I'm going to see tomorrow.
The next afternoon, it was time to once again head across the street and into the Delta Center. This time it was to see the Utah Mammoth take on the Columbus Blue Jackets. I made sure to get there early so I could catch the pregame warm-ups, but admittedly I was also hungry. The night before I had noticed the stands for J-Dogs, a local hot dog chain, and I specifically had my eye on their Polish dog. I have to admit, $9 is a great price for what I got, and with a toppings bar at every J-Dog stand, this thing was delicious. Well worth it. I'll show you pricing later because I wasn't done with concessions. I ate rather quickly though because warm-ups were underway and I ventured into the lower bowl to get an up-close view. I stood in almost the exact same spot as I did last year. Here's how it looked last year versus this year. Needless to say, there are way more seats behind the net now. After a few minutes I ventured over to that area, which from where I was before required going back up to the concourse and entering through a different tunnel. And my first impression of it was, wow, these steps are steep. You can see how much lower each row is from the one behind it. But hey, that means you've got a great view of the game. I considered buying a lower bowl and ticket for the game, but these seats were a pretty penny. I think $250 and up on the secondary market. So just being here for warm-ups was okay by me. I enjoyed most of warm-ups from this vantage point, and then it was back up these steep steps to the concourse. And then from there, it was up some more steps to the upper concourse, known here as the terrace level. Again, I was up high, one section over and one row higher than for the Jazz game, but I was right at the center ice line, so hard to complain. Beyond the arena changes, it's nice to see the team here have an identity now, after playing their first season as simply the Utah Hockey Club. I know the Mammoth wasn't the first choice for a team nickname, but the branding certainly fits in with the aesthetic of Utah as a winter destination. And the team is up and coming, as on the date of my visit, the Mammoth were right in contention for the final couple playoff spots in the NHL's Western Conference race. Again, from my perch up high, I made it a point to look at the slope of the seating bowl, and you can really see the difference from the day before. But I can't divert my attention away from the game for too long, because Utah scored! I stayed in my seat for the first two periods, and then at the second intermission I hit the concessions again. This time I had my eye on another local favorite, Dirty Soda from Swig. There are a lot of choices here and it was hard to settle on one, but I finally went for the buttery beer. Sorry for not taking off the lid here, but I can attest it was great, like a thicker, richer root beer. Like I did the day before, I headed up to the standing room area to see what the view was like. For now, the obstructed view still exists here. They mitigated this somewhat by raising the event floor 2 feet for hockey, but right now you still can't see the net that's closer to you from here. Here are some comparisons of what this vantage point looked like last season versus what it looks like now. The face-off circles are probably the biggest indicator, but from up high you still can't see the net. However, the good news is that this too will change. Last year's renovations were focused on the lower seating bowl, but future renovations will address hockey sightlines in the upper deck. Changes could be seen as soon as next season. Here's a seating chart recently distributed by the Mammoth in their season ticket marketing for next year that indicates this. So I'm excited to see what those renovations will wind up looking like, and how it improves the overall fan experience. And hey, it gives me yet another excuse to come back to Salt Lake City. The game eventually headed to overtime tied 2-2, and I moved over to a standing room spot that had a view of both nets in order to watch the finish. Unfortunately for the home fans, this one didn't end well either, with the Blue Jackets scoring the game winner on a power play. Well, I'm sorry I didn't bring good luck to the Utah fans on this particular weekend, but I have to say I'm impressed with the changes they've made here at the Delta Center so far. The fact that they're going to these lengths to improve the experience rather than just look to build a replacement facility is admirable from my point of view. And with more renovations still coming, the Jazz and the Mammoth here, and the Olympics in the future, I'm pretty sure I'll be back here again sometime soon, and probably pretty often. I hope this was an insightful look into the ongoing changes at the Delta Center. Have you seen a game in Salt Lake City, or are you planning to visit for sports in the near future? If so, let me know. Leave a like or a comment below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel because we'll be making a lot more stadium and travel videos like this one. And if you're looking for more info on other major cities or sports venues, head to itinerantfan.com. Thanks for watching, and happy travels!